Hello, welcome to the Blondes Conversation. This is the strangest intro you've ever had, but me and Mum were doing just a little bit of chatting beforehand, and all of a sudden we've ended up in a really deep conversation, and I'm sat here going, why the fuck aren't we recording this? So welcome, mid-conversation, just to bring you on a little catch-up. We're talking about business, we're talking about what we're learning about ourselves, we're talking about marketing, all that kind of stuff, but Mum is about to tell me about positive intelligence, and specifically a thing. So I realise you've dropped in halfway. I realise this is a half-formed thought, but I promise we'll bring it back to something that matters in just a second. So I'm going to go over and say, oh, she's pulling her face if you're watching online. So I'm going to go over and say, Jacqueline, start the thought again.
Hello. And welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, cool.
Yes, we will tell you a little bit more because I think there's a reason why we've got to this point, and I think it would be brilliant for us to explain why actually this is going to be an off the cuff, not even thought about header for something, and that we're just going to go in with it.
So I'm going to have to think of a title.
Yeah. Now I've lost my train of thought as to why I was about to share this.
You talk about the activate for positive intelligence.
Can you just explain a little bit though before that? What were you just sharing with me that takes me to that?
Right, so I recently joined a club called Drama Club online. It basically is just a load of business owners that I've made friends with through Threads. I fucking love Threads. If you're not on Threads, you should be on Threads.
Okay.
It's so
Don't
low
call me
spoons. It's so low spoons. You really need to do it. So if you're a business owner and you're not on Threads, you fucking should be, because I've built more connection on there than I've managed in the last year on Instagram. Like, I love Instagram and I'm not coming off it, but the connection. Anyway, I got invited to this business networking event by @wordshurt.copy. If you're not following them, you fucking should, because their sales page stuff is shit hot. Anyway, and
I agree.
Yeah, so good. And I've met amazing business owners, and I've had so many conversations in this last week. And now I'd come up with this offer, right? So I didn't say this to you earlier, but before I went on with them, I'd kind of convinced myself that the main event, which is my new offer that's launching, wasn't the offer. Like, I'd kind of got myself into this imposter syndrome little zone about it, and I was like, blah, 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 blah. Like, I shouldn't be launching it, ridiculous. I went on and had like 10 minutes of talking about it to these people where I was like, I really want to talk about it. I got really fired up. They got really fired up. They came at me with the most incredible feedback and thoughts and like expansions on it. And then within 24 hours, I'd built the sales page. I'd built the calendar link. It's already in Bookable. And I've now got someone on it for tomorrow who's going to test it out for me. She's tested out the whole process. And this person, by the way, Harry, and if you're listening...
Hi, Harry. Yeah. We already love you.
We've been chatting backwards and forwards, and Harry has this amazing skill where she can talk to somebody and know exactly how they should front themselves in terms of their colours, their fonts, but also things about them that they don't necessarily see about themselves. So I think Mum's going to get the message, but Harry, saw my main event and this thing that I'm doing. She was like, it's like a circus. It's like pulling back the curtain. And I have been on fire since. So we were just talking about, how often do we dull ourselves down? Because it's kind of terrifying to admit that we're magical and that we're amazing and all of these kinds of things. And that's where we got to. So we were talking about activate. So you had a leadership session yesterday morning. You were doing a workshop with a leadership team in the north.
Yeah, doing positive intelligence.
Intelligence workshop, following the positive intelligence course, which, by the way, she offers.
So there's a group of 6 of them, and we'd all done, I'd weekly done the course with them. It lasts 7 weeks. It's been absolutely incredible to watch what's been showing up for them, really. One of the biggest things for them was about the coming together and all of that. And then this workshop was to look at how do we strengthen the elements, what could be improved on, what was going well, and then how do we bring that together. And then you did say something else which you've not mentioned, which was the lead in to activate. So I don't know what that is. You might remember as I'm talking. But something about what you just said then really just sparked off this image in my head. So the whole thing about positive intelligence, it's 3 main things. I know I've mentioned this before, but just to kind of recap, it's about intercepting how our brain often will go into protective mode or sabotage. So protective mode, and we need to intercept that as often as we can, and we get better and better at that, and weaken, in essence, the muscle that takes us straight to sabotaging ourselves. And Lauren, you've just talked about having imposter syndrome. There it is, because that is a link to how we try and protect ourselves from failure and, other people rejecting us, all of that kind of thing. That's often why we procrastinate, because of these fears. and worries. So the other part of it then is what we call self-command. So it's how we use our senses and bring ourselves back into the present moment once we've intercepted, this conversation that often happens in our head, or these sensations of fear, anxiety, worry, and doubt.
Can I add to that?
Yeah,
Just as like a layman's terms thing. So because I've done positive intelligence twice, when you go through situations, our brain has a tendency to follow the paths that it just normally follows. They call it like a superhighway, don't they? Where your brain just naturally goes down these like patterns and habits. So let's say that something goes wrong and my brain automatically goes down, oh my God, I'm so shit. I'm never going to blah, 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 blah. So that intercept bit is to go, whoa there, Nelly. Hold on. And like stop you on that thought. And then the self-command bit is how you do that. So through the grounding technique. So it's about stopping that thought that kind of runs off with itself.
It is.
So just to sort of go, yes.
Yes. And that whole bit about self-command can be as simple as 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And
3
often
deep breaths in it.
feels like it needs to be something bigger, but it doesn't. It's just 10 seconds. And then the final muscle that you are strengthening and building and actually use, and we don't realize, and I think that's one of the biggest things for me that people don't recognize when they're using these sage superpowers that they've got. Things like, so empathy, exploration. So this is about being curious rather than judgmental, being able to access what we call navigate power, understanding what truly matters in this moment and what's important to you, being able to innovate. How often do we, come up with new ideas, and before they've even got out of our heads or fully formed, we've already criticised them or evaluated them. So innovate is a way to be able to do that without, actually get past the evaluation. Just go with generate first and then evaluate. And there's so much more to it. And activate is the hub. It's the middle bit, because on a daily basis, you are having to make choices. You are having to make decisions. And activate is the power that you use when you use this present moment, come back, intercept whatever's going on with your sabotage, and now you make decisions from that. And there's a really great question around it, what's needed now? And I love that question. And sometimes what we've got is a really clear idea of what's needed, other times we don't. And if you want to know more about that, send me a direct message, ask me some questions, or go and listen to the other podcast, because I won't go into that. But activate, the 2 steps are, I've got a clear idea. I ensure that the first step that I'm going to take is small and sufficient enough for me to celebrate it. That's important. The second step, though, is laser focus. And whatever it is that you were talking about before, because I feel like we've gone off on, like we do.
I did figure that out.
Yeah, is this whole bit about how fragmented our thinking is on a day-to-day basis, right? So we are these incredible energetic beings, this incredible power that we've got, for thinking and creating and feeling and all of that. And what happens on a daily basis when our brain is off and our saboteurs and judge, as we call them in positive intelligence, are in control, all of this power, this focus power, is fragmented. We talk, don't we, that this big thing about being multitasking, and I've realised that does not work for me. I need to be able to give my attention and focus to one thing at a time.
Yeah.
That's exactly what this is about. So if you were to imagine...
Yeah, I can't watch a film with my phone.
Literally.
If I try and do that, I will miss the film.
Yeah, but we do it. I'm trying to read a book while I'm watching a film, while I'm having a conversation, and it's like, but it's this, do you know what it is? It's this rush, push world.
I need to do all of it.
Actually, can I just throw in a little saying? It's better to be pulled by love than pushed by fear. And I adore that.
That's cute.
And that whole bit about, and I recognise for me, the push of the fear is I'm missing out. There's things that I'm not getting done. I've got so much on my plate. There's a big list of things that I want to achieve or do or feel or think or hear.
So capitalistic though, isn't it?
Yes. And
it's the marketing and the advertisement that's telling you you've not got enough.
Exactly. So if you come back though... If we think about, so in my head, if you imagine that, I want you to imagine a flip chart page and imagine all of these little images of these little light beams of light with tiny little bits of focus. Like imagine 500 of them written across a page. Yeah. So prior to energizing your brain, your sage brain, and building this muscle, we can have all of this thinking fragmented. When we use self-command, when we command our mind to come back to our attention, so we can now decide how we're going to use our minds and this incredible power. Imagine those 500 fragmented
All on
bits
one.
all in one.
Laser focus.
Laser focus on this
All
one
I can think
thing.
about is like an ant with a magnifying glass. It's like all of this light, and now you're like, but we're not killing ants.
No, we're not. No, we won't do that. But that's it.
Pigeon.
And that's exactly when we were thinking about sage activate power. That's whatever you'd said in that moment. That's what it generated for me.
It was. I'll tell you what it was. When it really, really
was.
was.
Tell me what it was.
Oh my god. It was. We're talking about marketing because we're talking about marketing our businesses, and I've done a lot of work today on this, and I'm feeling really fired up. I've had some incredible conversations, like I said, and I was talking about the fact that when you market to everybody, you end up with an average audience because you have these few people who truly believe in what you do and that you would really want to work with, but they're being wildly averaged out by all of the people around them. Because, you know, as many people as you've got going, yes, oh my fucking God, I'd love to do that. I'd love to work, blah, 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 blah. You've also got, nobody needs that. Why is it that when I did that voice, Dad came into my head? Dad. I love my dad very much, but he's not the most open-minded to things like this. Dad, if you ever listen, he won't.
He doesn't.
But if
he gets enough at home.
But if you stop marketing to everyone, if you're brave enough, and that's the thing, because it is brave, if you're brave enough to stop marketing to everybody, if you're brave enough to be specific, if you're brave enough to truly believe, to truly think about what your people believe in, to truly think about what pisses them off, to truly think about what they love, how they act, how do they buy? Like, are they impulsive? Do they need a little bit more time? Are they a little bit terrified about money? Like, when you really start thinking, and I'm not talking about fucking, is it a woman who buys Starbucks and does, you know, and shops at X? And some of those things might come into it, but logistically it isn't about demographics, it's about psychographics. It's about what do they believe? What movement are we trying to make, right? When we really focus on those specific people, instead of having an audience that's average, we have an audience that's built for us. And that is so powerful. So we were talking about the minimal viable audience. We were talking about, like, what's the minimum number of people that you'd need? Because I reckon I could get away with, like, if I had 50 people who were interested in working with me at any one time across, and this is like in the dream in the future. So across my membership, across my, different mini offerings I've got, and across my high ticket, if I had that many people, that would be enough to sustain me. So then it's like, well, why am I trying to talk to like 50,000? Why am I not focusing on because I've got 1,200 followers on Facebook right now. I know, bougie, woohoo. But like, how many of them are ones who are following me because of what I truly believe, and are not just following me because of something that I posted because I thought it was going to be cool a few months ago? So it's like, how do we get really specific on that? And I just think it's so brave, and it's also freeing as fuck. Because when you realise you really don't have to please everyone. We really don't have to please everyone. But I think that this logistically rolls out into every phase of life. I don't think this is just about marketing, because my thought when I was listening to this earlier was like, if you think about your friendship group, if you've got, you know, a bunch of friends, like a handful of friends who are your ride or dies, a handful of friends who you could call, like I can bring mine to mind right now, the people I'd call no matter what, who'd be the people who, whether it was good or bad news, I'd ring and I'd tell them, and I'd be like, I need support, right? And then you've got this vast array of half friends, people who you might speak to, people who you might not. And I'm not saying that acquaintances aren't good, but if you try and have more of it, but it's watered down, surely that's not as useful as having a really good one. Do you see what I mean? Like,
well, there's a lot of research going into now that as we get older, often our friendship circle kind of
shrinks
gets
a little
smaller.
bit. Yeah, because you're all busy.
Yeah,
life happens.
Yeah, it is, and then it's having the people that matter around you.
Yeah.
And also the people that are around you do matter because of, you know, what's the saying? You are the sum total of the 5 people that you spend the most time with.
Oh, I love that.
You know, so that, and I know we do some of that work in restoration as well.
Yeah.
Actually, you get the chance to really think about, you know, not in the sense of, let's just be really clear, not in the sense of, oh, you cut them out of your life if they're not, but we do need to just understand who do we spend the most time with, and in what way do they influence us, because I'd like to come back to the nervous system stuff with that, and the fact that actually the word contagion, which just makes me think of 28 Days Later, the film, and not a good thing, but actually it's not. Contagion is the fact that we mirror You know, so we begin to take on board, and you know, the emotions and the feelings and the behavior often and things like that. So we end up in sync with people.
Yeah, well, it's everything I said about that like meeting. So I was late to that meeting, and I wasn't going to go, this drama club thing, and I'd like convinced myself it was a terrible idea because I couldn't turn up late. And then my husband was like, "Shut the fuck up and go on the meeting," and I was like, "Yeah, okay."
Well done, Dave.
Yeah, I know.
Literally what I was about to say, but you've done it.
So I went on, and like the the connection and what it's done for me, and it's only been a week. Like it hasn't even been a week. It'll be a week tomorrow because we're filming this on Tuesday. That I spent with these people, and that they gave me this fire back that was like, oh, hang on, it's not just me. And I think there's a danger as a small business owner. You know, even though we've got each other, we're an isolated system. We're an isolated system, and that becomes kind of dangerous because things can spiral in there, and things can become whirlwinds, and things can pull us apart. And like, you know, if one of us has a bit of a sucky thought, like that's kind of like, oh, this is really hard, we can both end up kind of struggling with
There's
it.
a contagion.
And we try and pull each other up, but logistically it's kind of difficult. And I think as small business owners, especially if you're working on your own, you've got to find the people. You've got to find the people that will bring you back out of your own head. That'll go, hang on, this is different. And it might not even be that you speak to them about like what's going on in your head, but just the nature of having a conversation with another human pulls you out of your own perspective.
That's the key, though. That is it. And again, just come back to those little bits of focus. We can translate that into that often. So what you're describing as you were talking to me there, I could just see, you know, like a little torch beams.
Yeah.
It's like, so if you imagine our business as a whole, even with you and I, we've only at the moment got specific torch beams on, highlighting certain parts of ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you see me in a certain way, and I see you in a certain way, and we're really good at picking each other up.
Yeah.
And you know, calling out what actually is the really great stuff, and you know, we're very supportive of each other. The beauty, and I do think it's really, I think we could do with talking again a little bit more about what you were talking about at the beginning, and about how Harry has really helped you to see, you know, this aspect of you, and who you are, because that's the beauty. Other people give you different perspectives, and the danger is, and we don't want to. Well, just so you know, I don't want to live in a society where I am surrounded by people that have the same perspective. I 100%, not just boring, dangerous.
Yeah.
I'm getting very close to the mic. I need to sit back because I'm getting passionate.
We tested, we did a sound test for a reason, Jacqueline.
But that's the whole bit, is that whole, because for me, and I want to just talk about what I saw that Harry had sent you. The minute I saw it, my brain exploded. I felt it, like my brain just went, like, oh my God, that's amazing. That's it. That's literally
the colours, the fonts,
everything.
Like
Harry, you are incredible at that.
10 out of 10
that,
recommend to a
just so
friend.
you know, I have instantly said to Lauren, me please, me
next.
me next.
Me next.
Lauren, I did say that was in my phone a moment ago, and I was, because I am blown away by a message. Oh, Harry, please, I hope it's okay that I say this out loud. There's nothing on here that is coming. But I just want the people.
Basically, I shared that we're doing a podcast, and Harry went on to look at the podcast and was like, "This is the vibe I get from your mum," just so that you know.
Which it's blown my mind.
And I shared it with her immediately because it was beautiful.
You did. And literally this morning, I was stood at the bus stop in the rain, and I had a real moment. And I've had another real moment since we came into the podcast studio. And I am now. This is just genuinely how this afternoon has gone for me. So this is what I read at the bus stop. So also, your mum is such a ray of sunshine, like luxury, goddess, leopard, sunshine vibes. Also, not restoration, more grab you by the tits and shake you into your real self.
Hang on, because she laughed and you might not have heard that. Grab you by the tits and shake you into your real self.
Your mum seems fierce. She's a wild child. That has affected me more than you'll know, and I'll explain why in a moment. I hope she offers dinner parties, lunches, and a membership as part of her offering. Well, fascinatingly enough, the membership has just started.
Yeah,
the restoration space is literally just open. Harry, though, you have completely blown my mind.
Yeah.
And now reading it again, Lauren, there's more than just the two words. So I said to Lauren, it's two words. It's the wild child bit.
Yeah.
And it's that bit, isn't it, that sometimes the way that somebody else sees you, it has unlocked something within me. I've
Yeah.
always felt like I was a bit weird and a bit different, and coming from being in a family where I was just totally different to what everybody else
Yeah.
enjoyed and liked, and I've always been fascinated by history and philosophy, and I love this whole thing about
Behavior
yoga
and human behavior
Yeah.
and things
Health.
things people might call woo woo.
Yeah.
But I say that with my hands up
Yeah,
because I would have been
you
the
would have
person
been
that
that
called
person.
that.
Yes,
And now I'm not that
definitely.
person anymore.
And the whole thing about learning and even the whole thing about therapy and how come we
Yeah.
work the way we do. I mean, I am the girl who at 16-year-old went and did a psychology A level, which I utterly adored, whilst also flunking my biology A
Yeah.
level, which meant then that I got 3 jobs at the same time and then flunked and didn't go to university. I went to the University of Life. But Lynn's, I don't know why I've just said it like that. Anyway, your mum seems fierce. She's a wild child. It just that has completely. It's just thrown me this curveball
Yeah.
of this part of me that I want to bring out. This part of me that is like, you know what? I get that rules matter until they are ridiculous.
Yeah, for
And
safety.
yeah, for safety. And it's like I get, but I am tired of living by other people's rules. I am 55 years old and fuck right off. I'm done. I am so done with having to do things a certain way.
love
But I
this so
realise
much.
that even right now, Lauren, that I have, because I came through the way that I did and did the coaching accreditation, that in my head I had a fixed view. I had a view of how I should be doing this.
Professionalism
And
kind
that
of
I am not
way,
professional, and yet I blooming am.
Yeah, you are.
Ethics matter to me. How I treat people matters to me. The fact
But
that
also the fact that you're changing people's lives.
yeah, and I believe that they're the expert on themselves. I think that's
Yeah.
the bit. You know what? Sometimes we need a good bloody scaffolding.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to offer is this opportunity for people to explore different parts of who they are and,
And the
realise
stories that
what can be
they've
different.
believed about
That's it.
themselves.
Yeah.
Like, what have they grown up with that they now believe to be true that they actually are quietly fighting against constantly without even fucking realising it?
Because our nervous system keeps the stories. And in fact, in restoration, that's where, just at this moment, there is a brand new questionnaire where you get to find out what your nervous system archetype is.
I love the word archetype.
And, that whole bit about understanding that our nervous system, when things happen to us, our body is listening. So what it does is it stores the emotion and it stores the narrative, the story that we've told. And if it isn't able to process itself, which a lot of the times it can't because we don't have space to do it, we don't have a safe space where we can talk to people, we don't move our body, what happens then is it gets stored. So then, of course, it's like this little process because we live on autopilot. We have to because we don't have enough brain power to be able to, rethink and relearn stuff at every moment of every day. So we will meet somebody in that moment that then, something happens, and actually it might not be about them, but what happens then is this story comes out.
Yeah, because your nervous system goes, hang on, I recognise this.
Yes, boom.
This is the way we have to act. This is the way we have to feel.
So that voice is the PA that sits in the centre, like a command centre, and behind it is like a big warehouse. Exactly, it's a little warehouse.
Quick!
And what happens is there's robots that go up and down the command.
She's shitting herself.
It goes and gets like row 47, row 47, code B, get it out, put it in the system. In my head, it is a bit like a DVD player. Sorry, I'm old, but it's like in the system, and now suddenly. That's why I behave and do the things that I do. But that for me is this beauty of what I've been telling myself, this story of how I need to show up as a coach.
Yeah.
I keep it safe, keep it. So, and
Keep
Harry
it
doesn't know me, but
No.
sunshine is one of the things that has followed me. People have said that to me. Like,
Yeah.
just so you know, I'm not always a ray of sunshine. I also
sometimes sunshine's a bit of a bitch.
it is. It's a bit. Gets
Sometimes
a bit
you've
hot.
got to put a bit UV on.
Yeah. But that
Bit of
wild
sun
child,
cream.
Harry, I don't know what you've done at me, but I swear to God. And also the thing that has just blown my mind completely. I hope she offers dinner parties and lunches. I don't, but I will be.
Yeah.
And like, how does that even show in my head right now? It's like, what do I do with that? What do I do with that?
Yeah.
So I'm excited, but I think this is why we need other people.
Yeah.
It's why
Yeah.
we, and because Well, you'll have to tune into another podcast where we're going to talk about transitions, but this one will fit beautifully into the next one, where we start to look at how, actually research shows, do you know every 18 months we go through a transition?
I mean, that kind
As
of
a human
vibes
being.
with me.
It's
Kinda makes
really
sense.
interesting. I've got some really great stats I want to share on the next one, and some great reflective questions for people, and things like that. But that's this whole thing about, you know, we can feel it in our bodies. We know when
Yeah.
something needs to be different, when we're ready. And I said that to you when I was sat down.
Yeah.
I just have this sense, and I actually got emotional a bit earlier and was saying, I just have this sense that we're
Emergence.
re-emergence. I'm coming out.
I want the world to know. Got to let it show. I'm coming. Fucking love. What's that, Made in Manhattan?
That's made. Oh, Jennifer
I
Lopez,
love
if
that
you're
film.
listening, and Ralph Fiennes, we
Ralph
love you. That
Fiennes.
film was beautiful.
The dog. Is it Stanley Tucci as well?
Yes.
Oh, what film?
Is it that?
Yeah, we were trying to do the... Because this is what you do, isn't it? But there's like a new one now where the kids do it like this. But I don't know. That's
I'm
so
not down
much
with.
harder.
I'm not down with the kids. I'll do this one just for the purpose of those listening to the podcast. I'm doing a love heart with my hands, and then Lauren was showing me a different way to be able to
I
do
was
it.
showing her
but
the
I don't
non-millennial
care.
version.
I'm
but-
doing whichever version works for me, which
Yeah.
is ever so important, isn't
Anyway.
it? But anyway, I feel like we've just done a 40-minute podcast in 20 minutes because we were so passionate. We talk so fast.
Yeah, sorry. You can
Slow
on
us
Spotify
down.
slow us down a little bit if you need to.
You might
But
need
also,
to
it
for
just
this one.
we were just, you know what it was. Sometimes I think when we get a bit on fire like that, I'm like, we always do that thing where we go, "Why aren't we recording?" And I was like, "We're literally fucking sat in a podcast studio. Why aren't we recording?" And I guess this just comes back to that thing of knowing you matter, man, and the fact that like we miss it for ourselves. I think we miss it sometimes. The little things that make you fucking magical, like. And I think that we spend so long. So that's what I was thinking about. So when you were talking about re-emerging, you said the word morph. And in my head, it brought up morph. Do you remember from Art Attack? Art Attack, little morph, the little red man, blah, 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 blah. And he was made out of plasticine. And I have this image of like pulling bits of it off because we spend our life morphing into what other people want us to be and morphing into what we think people are going to palate, you know, like what do we think people are going to be able to take from us and all that kind of shit. And I'm just tired of it.
Yeah, me too.
Like, I'm sorry, but I am the kind of person who'll fucking stand up to you if you're being a dick. I am the kind of person who's not going to let you be racist. I am the kind of person who's going to kick off if you're bullying someone. I am the kind of person who's going to do that. I am also the kind of person who's got big opinions. And no, I'm not going to just shut the fuck up because it makes you a bit uncomfortable because you can't handle them. Like, I'm sick of making myself smaller because other people haven't got the courage to be big. Like, and it's this thing, so the thing that Harry sent me, this like sort of branding, the colour and the vibe and this all of this thing, the first thing that my brain did was went, "You're not cool enough for that." It's the first thing my brain said was, "You're not cool enough for that." Yeah, and I was like, hang the fuck on. Hang the fuck on. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. And who gives a fuck if I'm not? I get to choose that.
I get to choose.
I get to choose if I'm cool enough. Like, I get to choose that. And it's that, isn't it? So, yeah, fucking, I think this podcast dedicated to Harry, who we've never met in person. I haven't even met her really properly online yet. It was just in the drama club, and then we voice noted a lot. But yeah, you've changed our lives. So thanks for that.
We're loving the perspectives. We're loving the
You'll be on as a guest
yeah,
if we have our way.
Yeah, definitely want to come and talk to us about what you do.
But yeah, I guess my question for everyone listening, especially if you're business owners, but logistically if you're not as well, how much of your life do you truly believe you're living in the way that you want to live it? How much are you watering down? How much is still covered in a bit of morph, bit of plasticine? How much needs to be pulled off so that you can see the good bit underneath?
That's so interesting. So in my work, because this is
talk
where I
about
think
the Buddha?
we align, the Golden Buddha story is the story
fucking
of
love the
positive
Golden Buddha
intelligence
story.
that gets
You can tell the
shared.
story and then we'll quit because
Yeah.
we're literally at half an hour, which is amazing.
Because, so the Golden Buddha story in essence, and it fits with
Golden
Morph and the
Buddha. I
plaster
know.
scene. But this story is about, thousands of years ago, there is this beautiful little village, and in it is this place where there is a
It's a Buddhist temple,
it's
isn't
a
it?
Buddhist temple, but there's a lot of beautiful items, and you know, one of them is this
Statues and-
incredible gold statue, and the monks here, or the Buddhist monks here, that there is an army approaching, and it is literally destroying and
Vandalising.
stealing everything. So they take the action of covering the biggest statue in mud and plaster.
Yeah, so
and
you
they,
can still see it.
Yeah,
like
but
it
it's
still
covered.
looks like a statue, but it
Yeah.
looks like it's a statue made of rock.
Yeah, literally.
Like it
yeah.
that's all it looks like.
Doesn't look
like
valuable or anything. So
No.
the aim is that it's not going to get stolen. So anyway, sadly,
They
all
all
die
die,
and they are
yeah.
killed. And it is not until fast forward last century that the some people were out. They were doing some archaeological stuff. I was going to say adventures as well. And they come across this Buddhist temple. And it was when this statue, they were trying to shift to move it.
Yeah.
So that they could, see what was behind it or just see what was in it. And accidentally somebody cracked the top of one of the base of it, and they found underneath the
Solid gold
and it was
statue.
solid 18-karat gold. So that analogy for me is so beautiful, because that in positive intelligence is this thought that when we're born, we have the most golden and valuable and beautiful essence. And Lauren's face, if you can't see it, it's just gorgeous. But it is that,
Just think about my little boy and how he is that.
He
right
is
now.
that.
It's
He is
just
that.
brilliant.
And then what happens, and in varying degrees for people, is we get layers upon layers upon layers of plaster that gets on us, and it gets hard and solid. Which
and
that's
it's
what
the
it does.
expectations of other people,
Yeah.
or it's being
Culture.
bullied, or the culture that we're supposed to do,
All
or
of
having to
that.
work when we're too tired,
Yeah.
and all of these things that cover and cover and cover. And
Exactly, and it's that part. And what was really getting me excited then when you were talking was that that's where we align so beautifully, because for me it's about the individuals and the teams. That's what I want to support them to be able
Pull
to
the
do,
goal
is
back out.
get that plaster off.
Yeah.
We that's why we need this.
Let's push you down.
Yeah, that's why you need some scaffolding, because you're gonna have to get high and all of those bits. But we're gonna
High
have to,
as in physically,
Yes.
not as in drugs.
yeah. Well, I didn't even go there, love.
there you go.
And
I just wanted to
your
be clear.
part of it is the business side.
Yeah,
of it.
it's to pull the gold out in your business.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I truly believe that the magic of making a business unforgettable is by leaning into what makes it completely different. And the thing that makes every single business different is the person who built it. You. That's it. That's the magic. And when you finally feel confident and brave enough to go, yeah, all right. Yeah, okay, let's go for it. It's fucking wild. I've reduced my posting on social media in the last month by about a third, as in I've gone, so if this is 100%, I'm now posting a third of that, because when I was doing the 100-day challenge and stuff, I was posting 2-3 times a day, and it was every day of the week. I now post once a day, 5 days a week. That's all I post. And my engagement has gone through the roof, because I am being utterly myself. And do you know what? I couldn't give a flying fuck if anyone thinks it's cringe. I literally couldn't care, because I am enjoying it. I'm enjoying myself. And the reel I made today made me cry when I made it.
I haven't even seen it. I've literally, my head's been in other things today, so I need to catch up on your social media.
So, and that's it, isn't it?
So I'm going to have a look at that.
It's like when you finally, and the thing is that it might take a little bit of time, especially if you've surrounded yourself with people who don't know the real you, because you've got to now get through that to find the people who do know the real you. That's the hard part. But when you get there, you'll start to see the reaction you want to see, because when you get the right people will respond to you the way that you want them to respond.
Yeah.
And there are people in the world who think the same as you.
Yeah.
There are. And if you need to question that, there are people who believe Donald Trump is not an arsehole. A lot of them. And therefore, there must be people who agree with you too. And
I'm
on that
mouthing,
note,
not me.
I think that's a great way to pull this podcast to a close.
Well, I'd like to leave the people that are listening with maybe a reflection of, what would it take to start removing some of the plaster for you?
Yeah.
What parts of
What
you?
first little bit of gold would you be willing to show
Yeah.
people? What little bit of weird? Let's show them a little bit of weird. What would it be?
Right, that's it.
Quick.
The randomest
Easy.
conversation ever. But thanks for listening.
Peace out. See you soon.
Bye.